I'm going to be talking a little bit about how video and assessment can be used to create engagement. I think you might have a video running. Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you very much. Maybe I don't need this anymore then. I think we just heard about a few different ways to create videos and how to create assessment questions. So we're going to talk about how this ties back to the theory and how we can use this to build engagement and experiential learning. Using an example in complex care and the Open Pediatrics platform. How many people have accessed Open Pediatrics before or are familiar with it? Great, so this will be familiar to many. We had a challenge where we found that learners in the residency program didn't have a lot of exposure to what the outpatient setting looked like for our complex care children, and so we wanted to create an online learning experience that would help be kind of a surrogate to show what life looks like in the community. So we leveraged the Open Pediatrics platform to do this. So we created an online curriculum created for the platform with 9 concept videos and some embedded assessment questions. So there's multiple choice as well as short answer. And this was a 90-minute self-directed module that the interns in their Keystone rotation, where they learn about advocacy for vulnerable populations, could do this on their own time. And the middle kind of diagram there just shows some of the content areas related to the care of children with medical complexity that we wanted to be able to teach about using video. And so this was created in collaboration with a family partner. And then we actually had a follow-up seminar in person where the learners could come and reflect on their experience and debrief together about what they learned, as well as have a larger discussion with the family that participated in the video so that they could answer their questions via teleconference. We also had the interprofessional team attend to be able to speak to some of the concepts in the video and provide some additional learning resources. So I want to share an example of how we created this, and maybe Dan, if you can help pull up the videos for me. This is what it looks like on the Open Pediatrics platform. So again, this is free for all healthcare professionals. There is now an accredited version of the course for physicians and nurses, but for your trainees, this is free to access and use, and even the individual videos themselves. So I'm just going to show a couple of example clips. Thank you. So this is our family.
You know, if he's happy, he'll giggle, he'll laugh, he'll absolutely get that belly chuckle going. But
he's just a joy to have in our home. He like completes us. He's a huge sports fanatic, and baseball is his #1 thing. He likes to play baseball. He plays Little League Challenger, and he loves to watch baseball, both on TV and in person. He loves music, movies. He's super social. School's kind of his thing. He gets to be around his peers, and they, you know, he's kind of the mayor of the school. So they'll like all the kids congregate to him. So he's just great. He's a great brother to Nick. Like, talk about having a brother that adores you from the moment he walks in the door to the time he goes to bed. So we're super fortunate. He loves to feel the air on his face, or even simply just taking a shower, because he.
That's like one example of just showing kind of what a day in the life looks like. And here's an example where we tried to teach some concepts related to medication management in the home.
And this is where we keep the extra extensions for his Mickey button, the extra button, medical tape, pill crushers, Marilax is back there too, anything that we could possibly need for Jack on a daily basis. And then what we do is we just take these trays out every morning or afternoon or evening, and we move them over here, and this is our prep station. So this is where we keep the extra syringes, the nebulizer mask, the pill crushers.
Pretty incredible to get this view into the family's home, and there was a combination here of the family's actually home video on their smartphone in addition to kind of filming in the home itself. So this was a chance to really create an engaging experience for the residents. So I wanted to just talk about how this ties into educational theory. Are people familiar with Kolb's cycle? So he kind of postulated that we learn based on how we perceive and process information. And so we can perceive information based on a concrete experience that we might have, or just by thinking about it. And we can process information through reflection or through experimenting with what we've learned. And through each of these different axes, it creates 4 distinct learning styles. And he described how effective learning can occur through going through each one of these stages through a cycle of experiential learning. And so if you think about all the different modalities that we talked about in terms of creating videos and assessment questions, we can see how this creates an opportunity to guide learners through this full cycle. And so he kind of indicated that if you can go through the cycle in all 4 steps, you're really going to capture all of your learners in the room. And so we started by creating this concrete experience by having people see what life looked like for this child and this family. Then we embedded these assessment questions that ask things like, what are your takeaway messages? What questions would you have for the family? What would you ask on history in your next clinic visit? And so we gave them a chance to write these short answer reflections. And then we had them come together and really discuss these concepts, meet with our interprofessional teams, and really explore what their new understandings were from this experience. And then we gave them a chance to experiment. So they were back into their clinical practice in their next residency rotation, and they were able to practice taking a history and really attending to these new ideas about what quality of life looks like at home. And so if we think about any of the different modalities that we've learned, it really just shows that this gives us a chance to really follow up on experiences by getting people to reflect and really process that information in new ways. And so that's kind of the takeaway message from this piece, is that you can leverage platforms like Open Pediatrics, find existing videos that relate to the learning objectives that you have, and really integrate this into an in-person learning experience or a chance to follow up through assessment and guided reflection. And if you would like to create your own videos and post them on Open Pediatrics, you can communicate directly with the Academy or with myself. We'd be happy to help you with that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.